We are in the sixth message within this series of the miracles that the book of John tells us about. This miracle actually is quite detailed, and I hesitated to make this in one message today, but I'm going to do that. I don't think it'll be really too long, but the entire chapter of John chapter 9 has the amazing story of Jesus healing a man who was born blind. This truly is an amazing story. And as we read down through it, I love this particular chapter because it has not only the miracle itself, which is phenomenal, even the way that it occurred is truly phenomenal, but also the reaction of people. And as this man is just trying to figure out what just happened to him. If you think about it, if you are blind and somebody talks to you, you don't see the person, right? So now Jesus tells him and then now he doesn't know how to recognize the person because he's never seen him before. Just an interesting story. So follow with me this morning as we think about this amazing story. You have a set of notes on your chair, and if for some reason you don't have one, I'm sure you can find one around you. But we'll have the scriptures on the screen as well. In John chapter 9, beginning in verse 1. As Jesus was walking along, he saw a man who had been blind from birth. Rabbi, or teachers, his disciples asked him, why was this man born blind? Now, that's an interesting issue in itself because they didn't look at this blind man and say, Jesus, can you fix this? This is an unusual thing. There was a question, a philosophical question of why was this man born blind? Was it because of his own sins or his parents' sins? Jesus said, it's not because of his sins or his parents' sins, Jesus answered. This happened so the power of God could be seen in him. We must quickly carry out the tasks assigned to us by the one who sent us. The night is coming, and then no one can work. But while I am here in the world, I am the light of the world. Listen to this. This is great. Then he spit on the ground. Let's hear it for guys who spit, right? I'm not a spitter. Then he spit on the ground and made mud with the saliva and spread the mud over the blind man's eyes. He told him, go wash yourself in the pool of Siloam. Siloam means sent. So the man went and washed and came back seeing. Now, what's up with that, right? I read this story, and every time I read through it, I'm going, wow, why that? Wouldn't it be more sanitary somehow to just put your hands on him or maybe not even touch him, do a good Asian thing and just stand back and nod and be healed or something? Why all the touching? And especially why all the spitting, right? Let's go over this a little bit. This man was born blind. In reality, he was coping and not hoping. He had learned to cope with his situation. There was truly no hope for him to find a solution to his issue. Let me just think about that a bit. He had learned, no doubt, from a very early age that begging, he would be able to get a little bit of livelihood. People would take care of him. He had figured out how to get from one place to another, perhaps, or maybe a child, or at this point, possibly even a grandchild, would take him from one place to another so that he could get to wherever he was going. Never had it been known up to that point that a man who was born blind could receive his sight. Now you imagine, eyes not formed, empty sockets, no nerves, no light, no perception, not even knowing what light is, completely in the darkness all this time. Here's an amazing story of a little boy by the name of Oscar O'Sullivan from Manchester, England. He was born blind. His parents figured out quickly that he was not looking in the direction that things were happening. Only if there was a sound would he turn his head toward the direction that the sound was coming from. So soon, very early, really, they took him to a doctor, and they diagnosed him as having a very very rare condition that was not reversible. He was not going to get better. It was a very rare genetic effect. He doesn't look blind, but indeed he was truly blind. He's also known as the youngest person on record of having learned to walk with a white cane. So as soon as he was pulling himself up on things, his mom would give him a little cane so that he could kind of start tapping around, and she would kind of walk behind him as he was learning to walk, and he would tap with this cane back and forth. So at 2 years of age, this little guy learned to get around. He's so young, however, that even when he goes to grocery stores, the people, they think he's just kind of fooling around and will scold him a bit with his stick and push him out of the way, not realizing that truly he was profoundly blind. Now, he gets around. Isn't he a cute little guy? We had little boys. We love these little boys running around. They're great. Cute little kid. But in reality, as amazing as his story is, he is still just coping. He has just learned to do what he could do with what he has received. Amazing indeed. We learn to cope in hopeless situations. And in reality, when this man was approached by Jesus and his disciples were asking this question, and can you imagine? Okay, I'm blind. I'm sitting on the side of the road, and I hear these people talking about who sinned. Did this guy sin or his parents sin? Hey, I'm here. I'm hearing you. I'm blind. I'm not deaf. You're not making me feel any better about this. Never had it entered anybody's mind that somebody could do something for this man. Man, how many of us get caught in situations and we think, this could never get better. I can never change. This is just my lot in life. Never had it been thought. Now, making mud with spit was a new thing too, okay? How much spit does it take to make enough mud to put on his eyes? Another glass of water, and we can. I just want you to feel the humanity of all of this. What this must have looked like. It's not like, okay, this is the new thing now, but it is the way of the Creator. You read Genesis chapter 2 and 3, and how did God create man in the beginning? Everything else, according to the Bible, He spoke it into existence. He said, let there be, and it was generated. But when it came to man, you know what it says, don't you? Out of the dust of the ground, He created man, and into him He breathed the breath of life. This is the way of the Creator. I believe that Jesus was making a statement. The Bible tells us that without Him, without Christ, nothing was created that was created. The Creator sees this absence of eye. Perhaps there was no eyeball itself. We don't know if there was an empty socket. We don't know if the eyes were there at all. But we do know this, that Jesus took mud, placed it on His eyes, and then told him, go to the pool and wash this off. Well, I would obey just because now I have mud on my face. You say, well, he had wonderful faith. Did he? Or he just had mud on his face? I don't know if he had faith or not. I do know that he had mud on his face now. And so maybe the nearest pool was to just, let's go to this Siloam thing and this guy, he didn't give me money. He put mud on me. Imagine. Come on, let's get real with this, okay? We read these stories and we impute all of these religious kind of things. No, no, no. This is the reality of exactly how it came down. And John wrote this story just like that. Beautiful. This is the way of the Creator. He bypasses the coping, and he brings true solutions. I'm not going to help you just cope with this. Here, let me give you a big bill. There's a big gold coin. That'll take care of you for a year. Don't come back tomorrow. Oh, that'd be great, wouldn't it? But it's still just coping. Jesus knew how to get to the very bottom of the issue that was in this man's life, just like I believe he knows how to get to the bottom of your issues. No longer just coping. Now there's the real thing. Now, we learn to cope in desperate situations, but let's read on a little bit. Verse 10 says this. They ask, who healed you? Okay, so after he's healed, he's brought in, and now his parents and the other people are going, oh, okay, this is a bad thing because now this happened on the Sabbath. Remember that rule. You can't do things on the Sabbath. So Jesus has healed this guy on the Sabbath, and everybody's hair's on fire now. So they think, okay, we got to take him to the leadership so that they will know what's going on. They ask him, who healed you? What happened? He told them, the man they called Jesus made mud and spread it over my eyes and told me, go to the pool of Siloam and wash yourself. So I went and washed, and now I can see. Can't get more real than that. Where is he now, they asked. I don't know, he replied. Then they took the man who had been blind to the Pharisees because it was on the Sabbath that Jesus had made the mud and healed him. The Pharisees asked the man all about it. So he told them, he put mud over my eyes. And when I washed it away, I could see. Some of the Pharisees said, this man Jesus is not from God. Now, they bypassed the fact that this man was blind from birth and now he can see. Now, they bypassed that. And here's what they said. This man Jesus is not from God because he is working on the Sabbath. Others said, but how could an ordinary sinner do such miraculous signs? So there was a deep division of opinion among them. Then the Pharisees again questioned the man who had been blind and demanded, what is your opinion about this man who healed you? And the man replied, I think he must be a prophet. Now, there are a couple of things the second thing that I want to share here. Not only is this a thing where we don't want you to just cope anymore. We want you to have real hope in life. The second thing is, this is really about a person and not a method. We need to focus on the person. This morning, I don't know what your background is, what your preferences religiously are. I don't know really what denomination you're from, what Christian group, what liturgy you prefer. I don't know any of those things just about very few of you really. I want to focus this morning on the person, and I appreciated the song choices today, Carol, because it really focuses on I'm amazed at you, Lord. I am amazed at you. You do this. And if we do anything, we need to focus on the person and not the method. Because in reality, the method, spitting, is not the issue. If it were so, then we would have a rush to create mud in all Christian organizations and it would be a messy place to go. Okay? I wouldn't want to necessarily be a part of that. It's not about Jesus spitting, and it's not really about mud. It is about Jesus himself. The method is immaterial. What is important is that we have correctly identified who he is. Let's find out who he is today. There were some who called him a sinner. Now this was a reality in the day and time that